There, everybody. J.R. Burgess here. Welcome to another episode of Health Evaders, where we're innovating health and creating wealth in our families and in your lives. I have a very special guest here, Dr. Melissa Peterson of Practice Impact Masters. Welcome so much. You've had such impact on the industry from your years of cash practice, helping practitioners have solutions. And today you're on talking about one of the screaming points for myself and for many practitioners on is scaling and growing their practices with the use of technology. So we're great doctors, we're great business people, but technology is a fear or a touch point of difficulty, and you've put together amazing solutions. So welcome, Dr. Melissa, and please give us a background of kind of where you came up from and how you got into the technology space.
Oh my goodness. Well, first of all, JR, thank you. So happy to be here. I love everything you're doing. Love Rejuve, love the Health Evader series. It's really great. There needs to be more just influencers and opinion leaders like yourself and in this space to help our peers really leverage their talents and move beyond those feelings of being a prisoner to their practice and re-engaging in the passion as well as the profit. So I love that you're just, one of those trailblazers helping in this space. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I guess the short little elevator pitch about me, I have been in the health and wellness space for more than 20 years. And it's kind of interesting. So people love this. Here's my little thing. I started dancing when I was 2 years old. I was working out by the time I was in 6th grade. I, grew up in the country. We had organic food when it wasn't even trendy or cool, and I hated gardening. We were so poor that we had to hunt and eat deer and venison. So, I actually grew up in one of the healthiest lifestyles, but as a kid, I despised it. I just wanted Wonder Bread and Doritos. I felt like that's what it meant to be affluent. And so it was really, really interesting. And yet I was still, I think because of my dance and everything, I was very dialed in to just a healthy, strong, vibrant body and loved how that felt. And then when I went out and I kind of started my career path, I thought I was going to be an attorney. Twist of fate actually led me into chiropractic. And so I became a doctor of chiropractic. And because I danced the entire time, I opened in the 96, I'm totally dating myself, Olympics, and I had some big choreographers come to me, and I got a lot of attention for some of the stuff I was doing. And television came knocking on my door. And so for a couple of years, I was on one of the top rated television shows. And the reason I'm sharing this is because it actually has played a significant part in my business acumen in private practice. And the television show that came calling was World Championship Wrestling. So I was in the wild, crazy world of wrestling. And we were the #1 rated show for 3.5 years. I was on, live stages, we did press junkets. I was everywhere every week. We were on planes, in front of cameras, in front of thousands of people. And I learned from some of the top advertising and marketing agencies, some of the top stars at the time, how to really go out and sell your product, if you will. In wrestling, it's a really funny thing. There are two kind of styles. You're a baby face or a heel, a good guy or a bad guy. And when you go out, you get one chance to make the crowd love you and to get the next match and the next match to actually have a job. And it's called, you got to make the crowd pop. That's when they cheer you. And so I had to learn really early on, how do I go out and make the crowd pop? How do I make sure I have a job, right? How do I make sure I have a presence? So now fast forward, the industry, television, you're hot and then you're not. So the show gets sold and now all of a sudden my rock star life is done and I'm back in day-to-day practice. That was a big shift. And then I'm like, and it certainly didn't compare at first, but then I really was like, well, let me make this mine. And I leveraged television. I was a very early adopter to technology, to answer your question, because back in 2003, I had a vision of saying, I want to be able to impact millions of lives. And I know in my practice, in a one-to-one, I'm impacting one life, which matters. And how can I leverage that to not only do that, but go even bigger? And so that was way before the internet was what it is today. That was before phones and tablets and all of it and social media. And so what was big then were videos, right? And DVDs, DVDs and things of that nature. And so I created the first of its kind mind-body integration program for golfers. It was a wellness program for golfers, Flow for Golf. And went out and started to say, I'm going to create digital products that can go out to the consumer, that can go out, that I can integrate in my practice. Then I started to create meditation CDs. So I started to say, how can I leverage technology in the form that we had it at that time so I can start to touch more lives? And so that was a theme very early on for me, but it didn't equate to big dollars and cents. And look, I still had a practice to run and patients to see. So I knew the big picture of what was possible, but I didn't fully know how to do it all. So through practice, I've had multiple, I've had more than 5 very successful, that just like your journey, struggled, made a lot of mistakes along the way until we finally started to dial things in, figure things out. And I've had both just wellness clinics, medical spas, integrative MD/DCs practices, functional medicine practice. So I've had several different types of businesses that I've owned. And then I started consulting because as practitioners were watching me, and again, I didn't have it fully figured out, but I was just an early adopter and I was doing things before other people were. And so as I'm in mastermind groups and, different events, docs would start to come to me and say, Melissa, how do we do what you do? And our functional medicine practice had really garnered some attention. I got a lot of local media, television, and we had some very successful marketing campaigns. They're like, how do I do that? And I was like, well, come out to a workshop. I'll teach you how to do it. And so all of a sudden, we started to really take, much like what you guys are doing now, what we were doing in practice, the mistakes that we learned, and the systems that we refine, and we started to share that with other providers. And so really over the past 8 years, that's evolved and grown. And so now that's the very 20+ year journey in less than a couple of minutes to say how I've ended here today is that I think we're in such an exciting time. Because as a provider, I remember like it was yesterday, working till 9 o'clock at night. My son was little. I was missing all the key moments. I would sit in traffic to work. I'd get home late. I'd get to kiss him and tuck him in. But I felt like I was missing my life. And it was really conflicting because we own a business, right? And to help other people as well as to help ourselves and to have the type of lifestyle that we want. And what became so clear is that I'm working so much and I'm helping other people, but I'm not necessarily helping myself and my family because I'm not living the lifestyle that I want. And so I also became an early adopter to this idea of scaling virtually because I love my husband and son so much, as we all do that are married and have kids, and especially when they're little and mushy. When they're teenagers, you're like, we'll work a few extra hours. We'll go to a seminar this weekend. But when they're little and mushy, all you want to do is play with them and kiss them and hug them. So I started to say, how can I do this differently? And I gave myself a timeline, and I said, okay, within 3 years, I want to be out of practice totally. I want to be able to live wherever I want to live, whether I've got a license in that state or not. I want to be able to still impact millions of lives. So how do I do it? And so I just started to think bigger. I started to think more expansively because I knew what I no longer wanted. And that's how I began to make a plan to leverage technology, to leverage the virtual space, and start to grow beyond my brick and mortar.
That's awesome. So you said something that was really touching in there. You wanted to mentor other doctors. You did that successfully. You built your practices successfully. And we're always encouraging our market and our people, our tribe, is to get mentorship. But sometimes they think just by getting mentorship that's an absolute shortcut to success. And just as you heard the entrepreneurial journey, there's no such thing. Sometimes we do that because we think we want the freedom, but it ends up giving us a 100-hour lifestyle that we didn't want in the first place. What a mentorship can do, if you truly invest in it, is save you the world of mistakes that you've went through. And
Yes.
that's what you became as you've gone through the technology spurts. You had some of that highest level marketing, advertising, and now you've created a platform that can both help save people the mistakes and trial and the painful error of technology of figuring this out, but also shortcut because that technology thing, there's no easy game. I'm sure you've invested thousands of hours in figuring out how do you scale and grow this. So tell us a little bit about what that technology can do for these clinicians that are looking to scale beyond one-on-one time in the room.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And so, JR, I think much like you all within Rejuve Med, the space of helping my peers has evolved. And I did a lot of, just like you guys do, going in, working in practices, helping them to completely revamp their systems, hire the right people. I've opened places from the ground up. And I got to a place where I was like, this is still just one-to-one. It's a bigger paycheck, but it's still just one-to-one. And I'm still not fully helping my tribe in the way that I know I can. And so again, I had to think more expansively, and I had to look at the hiccups, because it's not like I wasn't happy. I was enjoying the stuff I was doing. It was very fulfilling. And yet I still knew I wasn't really hitting the mark. And so I basically stepped back and I said, okay, what is the big theme? So in business, in life, in fact, side note, I was just talking to a coder yesterday who's developed some amazing neurotech. And he's like, Melissa, I'm a coder by design. He's like, and coding is just patterns. He's like, when you get in and you start looking at that binary code, it's all just patterns. Well, I said to him, I'm like, well, I look at patterns too. I don't understand code, not even a little bit, but I look at patterns. And I said, I just see them a little differently than you do. And so success in business, you guys, is a pattern. And it is beginning to understand the rhythm and the flow of who you do help, who you're best suited to help, in the ways that you're most sought out, in the ways that are not quite so much. Because trust me, I've done a lot of things, and I'm happy to say we've been able to help people in a lot of ways, but here's my mantra, just because you can doesn't mean you should, okay? And so I had to really pull back. I had to practice what I preach. I had to run my numbers. I had to look at, and I had to survey my docs and my tribe, and I started to really ask questions and find out, what is it that, out of all the stuff that we do, how can we help you the most? What is your biggest pain point? And it's, how do I have a virtual presence? I don't have time. I don't have time to compete in this virtual space. I feel like I'm missing the boat, is what we kept hearing from provider after provider, because they just didn't quite understand how to go ahead and have the funnels and the landing pages and the marketing and the education and the ebooks and the content. The content is the biggest, most stifling piece for so many providers. I know I need stuff to help my clients, because I know they're coming in for these treatments, for their therapies, for the modalities, and yet more than 80% of chronic disease is driven by lifestyle. So what they do in my practice is one piece, yet they leave my practice and they go back into their environments that are driving their sickness or their health. And so the big stopgap for many of us as providers was going, what do I do when they leave? And how do I continue to stay engaged with them in a meaningful way that can truly move the dial on that lifestyle piece? Because that's where it all breaks down. That's where it starts to fall apart. And so the first round is we created content, some beautiful stuff that's tried and true. It's been well vetted in our own practices and hundreds of practices around the country. It's all based in the research of functional medicine, integrative medicine, lifestyle medicine. So it's not just the Melissa protocol. These are proven methodologies and protocols. And everything from stress optimization, sleep optimization, Mediterranean diets, fitness programs. We've really gone the realm of mindset, meditation. So we've kind of looked at all those lifestyle buckets, and we first created content. So that was step one. And then providers came to us to license that content, to make it brandable for them. And then we said, okay, that's still just content, but how do we know that a patient's going to read it and they're going to do something with it? And so then I said, we've got to develop an app, because we all live on our phones. Whether we want to believe it or not, That's where
the
we
world.
all exist, right? And so I was like, what if I could give our docs, our leaders out there, a way that they can, at the touch of a finger, engage directly with their clients right from the phone. So I'm super excited to say we've developed an app. It's called Healthy Life Hub. And what it's able to do is the patient can track, right? So if the doctor's like, hey, you know what, JR, you are so dehydrated. One of the biggest things we got, before we even work on your diet, we've got to get you hydrated, right? There he is. He's gonna, I know, cue for everybody, drink your water. I love that. That was a subliminal message to all of us. And so, so it tracks all the foundational biometrics, the things that we as clinicians want to make sure that, because again, the client thinks, I got to do some huge transformation. But what we as clinicians know, it's the baby steps. It's the small things that the client is repeatedly not doing. And by the not doing, that's what has that compounding effect that leads them towards breakdown, sickness, and disease, right? So if we can first be in their pocket and instruct them, hey, we want you to track. Now, there's lots of trackers out there. So just tracking alone isn't going to do anything better than whatever. And it integrates with Fitbits and anything on the Google Fit platform and Apple platform. So it's really nice. A lot of wearable tech integrates with our app. Okay, so all their stuff can come in. But here's the really cool part, is that it's got direct messaging. So I, as the client, can message you, JR, as my coach or my clinician. And so we can have this real-time, simple communication. We also are going to be bringing in that same platform video conferencing. So now when we start to think about how do we leverage this virtual space, and we want to do things in a really easy way, right? That I, as the doc, I can go take a long weekend and I can still see clients from 3 to 5, but I can do it on the beach directly from my app, talking directly with my client for a quick check-in to keep them accountable. I'm still helping them and I'm still enjoying my life. So, and the platform's completely HIPAA compliant. It's got the ability to do push notifications. So you as the clinician, let's say you want to get a message just directly to one person, you can do that. If you want to send out a theme for the day, it's Wellness Wednesday, and here's the topic for the day, you can do that. And so it's this real-time back and forth connected engagement with our clients.
And that's a key component. And I can even say we've tried to experience something like this. We created Rejuve University, and that's where we got introduced to you in the first place. Is great. We have this experience. It's a great resource, but it's lacking all this other, tools that you talked about. The experience piece is a big deal. Yeah. So meaning, great, they have this platform, but if they're not going through it, they don't have that engagement, it's very easy to fall off. We have great 30-minute videos. We look at the back-end analytics, people fall off, versus the coaching, the daily content, the push notifications, far more advanced. The internal biometrics, so it has something that's exciting for them to do. And I appreciate you working with us, because we're looking at those opportunities of how do we not just create our university, which is a great tool for patients, but now scale it to all of our licensees, our franchise, and have that option. And we'll talk a little bit about that at the end. But that telemed piece is virtually, you can make a revenue generating product out of this as well.
100%. And that's the thing, is that, this becomes that lifestyle component. So first and foremost, there's content that comes out that will be available, right? That you can specifically attach to, like, all of a sudden, if I want you to have the Mediterranean diet, instead of sending you to the internet, I can attach that file to you. So you can access it. You can have it right there, again, available to you through your drive, through our content delivery platform. So it's powerful, it's personalized, it's precise. And a lot of times people can go into a back end, and and this is where I started too. I had a back end membership area for anybody that were in my lifestyle transformation programs. And same thing, the engagement rate falls off if there's too much, and client A for personalized medicine may need video 1 and 2, versus client B may need video 3 and 4. And so if we take everybody through the back, I'm watching stuff going, well, this isn't really apply to me, or I'm not really interested in this. And so then I'm not going to be compliant, and then I'm not going to engage, because here's the thing, gang. For all of us, our most valuable commodity is our time. It's our time. And because of the gift and the curse of technology, we have all become ADD, and we know that truly our attention spans are less than, to really sit and watch content, it's less than 3 minutes. So your content, like you guys, if you're still watching this video right now, like we're doing something good, and you've got to really want to know about this, because it's just that we don't have as much bandwidth. And if it's not really clear right away why this is important, why I should be watching it, the chances of me following through decrease significantly. So the app gives real personalization. It gives a point of engagement, because it's not just about, hey, go track your steps on your Fitbit. It's going, hey, Sarah, I logged in, I'm seeing, like all of a sudden, you can put different notifications. And I know you guys do a lot with weight loss. So all of a sudden, let's say Sarah gains 5 pounds. And all of a sudden, our system will give you an alert. And you go, wow, Sarah's gained 5 pounds. And I can see that she hasn't logged any of her steps. Like there's no steps in here. I wonder what's going on with her. You can either personally call if you're the coach. You can have your front desk. You can have an MA, a CA. You could, Sarah, hey, I'm calling, from Dr. Melissa's office. She wanted me to reach out and make sure everything's going okay. We saw from your app that, that you're not tracking right now. Talk to us. We're here. How can we support you? So instead of there being big gaps, right, even in a weekly weigh-in, like, or whatever, like it helps us as a coach, as a provider, especially around that lifestyle piece, just dial in, and our people know that they are being watched in a good way.
Yeah,
they're paying you.
Accountable.
They're paying you, right, to help them. And if they think that they're not being seen, I'll eat this cookie. I'll forget my workout today. But when they know that their doc and their coach is actively checking in on them and can see real time through the dashboard, they're more likely to follow through consistently. Does that make sense?
Fabulous. Absolutely, 100%. It's the experience, it's the accountability. So support, structure, community, and accountability. It interlaces all versus kind of our old system, even though it's advanced and most practitioners don't even have an online resource center, doesn't have any of those components. That's why I'm so excited to really try to implement that with your program amongst not just ours, but all of our license model, because it's a next level, far superior. And so many of them are trying to have that income or have that health coach that the doctors don't have time to send that and have that with every patient. But if they can give that resource and monetize it and be able to create that residual income and have something that really truly helps them, meaning our model, we realize we have to restore health, and it's that lifestyle component. You can't re-inject bad blood into somebody or fix them functionally if they're not going to work on this component. The practitioners don't have the time, the skills, or maybe they have the skills, the absolute desire to spend that repeat conversation over and over, and your technology has done it all. So thank you so much for sharing with that. Can you give me an example of a client that's used it recently, and if they've either gone away from their brick and mortar because of how they've grown through this, or how they've complemented their practice, and what are some of your successful clients doing with this right now?
That's a really great question. And so here's what we've done. Step one of this was just the platform. Mm-hmm. And so the app actually is fully coming to market at the beginning of October. So we do have beta testers on our app right now. So the app development process has been long. And so right now, the feedback from our beta testers is absolutely outstanding. Right. And they are all, right now, they're all brick and mortar business owners. And what it's doing, the biggest thing that they're telling us is it's really helping them to have more efficiency and more profitable time, meaning their patients are following up, right? And they're getting better results. So the patients are happy. So they're keeping the appointments that they have to come in and have. And they're also not needing to come in as often. So there's more time available to bring in more new clients to the practice. So just that initial shift has already increased profitability from the front end. The one thing I want to tell you all is what's great about this is that you can sell from within the app, meaning You can give
Supplements,
those
push
messages
notifications.
and those reminders, like let's say there's a feature. I mean, look, as we get into the top of the year, we know everybody's thinking weight loss and detox and things like that. So let's say, and I have a whole case study that we did with one of our practices that all they did was one detox kit. They charged $300. They did an email campaign, and we showed how their practice was able to generate over $30,000 in less than 6 weeks from one practice, and pushing it out. Now they had a large practice, and a lot of an actively engaged email list. And so I can't say everybody's going to get that same dollar amount, but the idea is very simple. You can focus on one thing and you can share that out. You can message that, because once somebody is on your app and they're in your program, let's say they're through the first phase, so they're not coming in as frequently. Well, we all know emails get lost. Maybe they get in the promotion folder, maybe they go to spam, maybe you just have so many emails coming in a day that you just miss it. But we are all on our phone, and we all look at our apps anytime we're bored or we have, God forbid, 2 minutes of something not occupying us. We're looking and we see a little ding come up and we're like, oh, what's going on that app? Who messaged me? What is it? So it's a very reliable form of communication, just to stay in touch with your people that have already said yes to you. So let's continue to nurture them and support their overall health experience.
It's truly fascinating, and I really, really appreciate that, and so looking forward to introducing it to our niche, our market. Where can they get a more information about your launch, your promotion? And then I got 2 wrap-up questions after we explain to everybody where they can find you.
Excellent. So right now, go to practiceimpactmasters.com. We have a big pop-up that'll be on the home screen to give you that immediate, right now with the launch, for the first 50 people, we are waiving the setup fee. Okay, so, and I want to be really clear, you guys, if any of you have explored apps, to be able to get an app, even for another company, it's at least $200 to $500 a month to have access to the app and any of the information that comes with it. So to be a licensed Healthy Life Hub provider, we are only charging our clinicians $99 a month, and you get the entire dashboard, the entire platform, all the resources. And we are not going to lock you into a contract. You decide in 6 months you don't want to use an app anymore, then you get to leave. All you do is give us a 30-day notice. So we want you to use it. We believe so much in the product, in the impact, and we know that you're going to love it so much that we just want you to use it. I'm not going to force you to use it, right? And so the setup fee is typically $200, but we're going to waive it completely free, gone for the first 50 that sign up. So just go to practiceimpactmasters.com and we'll get you guys all set.
Yeah, and as we've talked before in our integration, our medical fitness pillar, we strongly believe even if you don't have a brick and mortar or have that online trainer, you need this type of resource or capacity to give them the lifestyle medicine, the education, keep them engaged. I'm so excited for that level because it's beyond what we've done. And you've put the time, the energy into the software, the app, the technology. None of us want to touch that. So thank you for that, taking the heavy lifting out of it and providing a solution that each one of our patients absolutely need this day in healthcare to separate ourselves and provide those amazing outcomes. So that's huge in our innovation side of what we're really aimed at doing in Health Innovators is introducing innovators just like you. So the final 2 questions is, in your journey, you talked a little bit, so you might have slightly answered the first part. We always ask that people think going through business is easy, and we want people to be in community in our tribe that, hey, we've made failures, you failed, you're going to fail in business. What were your initial struggles going through this industry for the first question?
Wow.
That you overcome, maybe your value gap, what you had to learn.
Yeah, I would say the biggest struggle was really finding where I was most valuable, where I could be most impactful, because especially as a chiropractor, and especially 20 years ago, I was wellness before wellness was even a thing. And, because of my background in dance and nutrition and fitness, and I was a nutritionist and I was a personal trainer, I already came with a pretty full bag of tricks, if you will, right? So I thought as a doctor, my value was in being able to do a lot of different things. And I think and I've also heard this from many of the doctors that we've worked with over the years, my biggest struggle was just going, what is my true niche, if you will, my most valuable niche where I can make my biggest, most positive impact. And it took time. And because I didn't know, and because I wasn't willing to really look at the data and look at the metrics, and I was just like, well, this is fun and I like this and people want it. And, so there was kind of this, I'm going to give and love and serve. And I wasn't really wearing my business hat enough. It was more about what feels good. And then it wasn't until, going, well, the financial struggle doesn't feel good. So now I need to look at this differently. I need to get intelligent and strategic about this. And I had to truly, and you mentioned this earlier, JR, it wasn't until I went out and I personally invested in my own growth. I knew okay, I can't do this all on my own. I don't have the right business strategy for this practice. I've got to go learn from experts. So it was when I invested in my mastermind, it was when I invested in a tribe of other successful people around me that were able to give a perspective. And so, you're not far, it's just a little bit of this, or hey, you need to look at that. And so I was able to then really streamline and dig right in and go, there it is. And it was when I did that truly everything shifted.
And that's such a key component. Everybody thinks more is better, and you truly got to find that expertise or that niche or that thorough line that lights you up and makes you passionable, because I've seen it. We wear multiple hats. Let's just add this ancillary service and that one. And more is not better. It'll burn you out. It'll run you down. It'll create more work. So you're always going to be, I shouldn't say always, there's always an exception to a rule, is you're definitely going to truly find it may be easier when you find that one or two things. Doesn't mean you can't have multiple offers, but people should be able to meet you for what you stand out for, and then be introduced to different things. So question now, you've had tremendous success, you've learned, you've coached, you've mentored. What is it now that as you're growing, what is your next hurdle or bottleneck you have to overcome? I always try to say we're our own bottlenecks until we realize what's next for us, what hurdle we have to overcome. Mine was learning how to value my time the right way over the last year. So what is it now that you need to do personally to get to that next level of success?
It's a good question. It's an intelligent question. And I think one of my biggest ongoing challenges I have to be super aware of is doing too much of it myself. Because I wouldn't say I'm a control freak, but I really am kind of that E-myth of you work the role and then you fill the role, right? So not that that's really the truth per se, but I think I've taken too much of that to heart. So a lot of times I am my own bottleneck because I want to really understand it so that I can confidently hand it off, make sure I've got the right team members, and I can be free and go, great, this is all good. And because we've gone into the technology space, which is new for me, I've got an incredible tech team, and our app developer is one of the leaders out there. So who we've partnered with is outstanding, right? And so that brings me total peace of mind, and I don't have to think even twice on that. That's the easy part. So it's really just going, okay, great. Whenever you bring something new to market, you're kind of going, how's it all we've got it how we think it's all supposed to work, which is why we're doing betas, right? And we constantly are tweaking as we get feedback. And I'm already going, we're gonna release new elements a quarter at a time so that we don't do too much and also make it too overwhelming, because I think that's one of my other problems. I think that I'm Italian.
More is value.
More, manja, right? Like there's this idea of more. So I'm like, I want to give you more. I want to give you so much amazing stuff. You're going to go, wow, I can't live without this. And that's not the truth of, just like you said, more is not always better. And so my biggest bottleneck is thinking I need to deliver more and understanding the value is in the simplicity. So you, my tribe and my consumer can easily adapt and implement this powerful tool that will directly and exponentially help to grow your practice, your profits, and your impact. So.
Boy, are we kindred spirits, I tell you that. So I feel like I'm living in that same world exactly, and had to learn the hard way, because more sometimes stops people in their tracks versus giving them just enough to be inspired to take action. More sometimes paralyzes or gives somebody too much to think they don't need the support when they still need structure, community, accountability, and support. So, so sure. True, so right on. And yes, I think as visionaries and entrepreneurs, that is that curse. We gotta, it's our strength and our weakness. That's the thing with any course. It's why you've been successful the way that you have, but to get to that next level, you realize, there's that fine balance right in the middle of that. So thank you, Dr. Melissa Peterson, so much. And all of you, please go to practiceimpactmasters.com. This is truly the time to get in. Well, you can be a part of a beta and get at a steal of a deal where you can truly start giving your patients the resources they need and free up you some time, because again, you'll burn out, you'll try to do too much. Let's get rid of the things that people do on a higher level so we can truly be in our unique ability where we can have the most success. So much through that thread of the conversation is what your software can provide for each one of these practitioners. Any final thoughts or words? If I said anything wrong, where to come see you?
Yeah, no, you've been great. It's been amazing. Thanks for having me here. Practiceimpactmasters.com. We're happy to help you. If for any reason you go there, because I don't know when you're going to watch or listen to this, so if there's any time gap and you're not seeing the information because maybe the special's already gone and down, just go to the contact form and just put in there, Health Evaders. Let me know, just app Health Evaders, and it'll get to me. And I'll make sure that my team, takes great care of you guys. And I just want to say that I get it. It gets challenging some days being in the trenches. And yet, you all are so necessary. And you are the lifeline to shifting an outdated paradigm, to truly helping people to understand what it means to not only heal, but to actually enhance their health, their life, their well-being, and to move into stages of optimization. And that's what's beautiful about regenerative medicine. That's what's beautiful about this tribe. We're all like minds. So if I can say one thing as we wrap today, it's just, remember that you are mightier than you think that you are, to think bigger, to think beyond the minutia and the tasks of the day. Because when we allow ourselves to expand, man, magic happens every time.
Thank you so much. That's amazing. I'm motivated to go take on the day, and I sure appreciate it. And I'm so excited for you. Go see the website, get the support and help you need. Thank you, Dr. Melissa. Appreciate her time.
Thank you so much, JR. Thank you, everybody.